So one of the one of the things that people don't realize they're doing wrong, the first is identity. If you give yourself an identity, let's say I'm someone who has anxiety, and you label it my anxiety, it's as if you're wearing a badge that says my anxiety, and I'm someone who has this thing. And what that does is it disempowers you. And it's very, your subconscious mind is listening to every single word you say. So if you walk around all day saying, I have anxiety, my anxiety, this is something I own, and then it's going to start owning you. What you need to do is to relabel it, take the badge off, and relabel yourself as someone who is experiencing anxiety. It's not who you are, it's something separate. It just happens to be something you're experiencing in the temporary. Labeling it as that anxiety rather than my anxiety is incredibly powerful for your mind. Another mistake a lot of people make is to get very tied up in story. When we have an anxiety or a fear or something, a mental block, it's very easy to tell ourselves a story about that. And, for example, let's say someone can hear us speaking or singing, and we immediately look at them and think, oh, they hate me. We don't actually know how they think, what they think, how they feel about us. We have no idea. But we often tell ourselves a story about that person's reaction, for example. So getting caught up in the story that you're telling yourself is something it's really, really important to be aware of when you're changing your thoughts, when you're changing your habits, as we're going to today. Another thing is a lot of people then, as they talk about story, end up over analyzing and talking about the problem and talking about the problem. And this just makes it worse, because what you're doing is strengthening the neurological pathways in your brain that have already been formed. What you need to do is to start to steer your mind to how you want to feel instead. I'm not saying that you have to say, oh wow, the world is sunshine, rainbows and butterflies and unicorns, because that might not be true. But it's more powerful to say, every day I'm getting better at what I do. It's more empowering to say that than I'm stuck in my problem, if that makes sense. So coming back to willpower, this is another thing that people don't realize is not helping them, is trying to use willpower. Willpower lives in the conscious part of your mind. It lives in the upper 10%, the top of the iceberg that you can see. If you have an unconscious belief or a subconscious belief that's holding you back, then no matter how much willpower you have, that subconscious belief is going to guide your behavior until you shift it and heal that stuff on a subconscious level. Because your subconscious or unconscious is where you hold your habits, beliefs, your emotions, your nervous system responses. It's where your creativity lives.
What did you say? Willpower doesn't overcome subconscious belief?
You've just worded it beautifully. You
Okay.
more eloquently than I did. Yeah. Willpower can't overcome subconscious belief.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're doing this then.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you have a subconscious belief shift, then suddenly you don't need willpower. And don't get me wrong, you need to have the will to do it. I have the will to go to the gym, but I've also found that doing the subconscious work to remove the mental and emotional blocks so that I know I'm worthy of getting the six pack, for example. Not quite there yet, but